What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 774 of FloWrestling Radio Live, the Real Deal edition. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by Blues legend James Dean Rader, Shane Sparks, yes, he's here, and Ben Funky Askren. We had to do Shane on a Tuesday because Ben's going to the Bitcoin convention tomorrow, and well, Shane, you've been ducking us for the last couple weeks, so no telling what's gonna happen. 2 weeks vacation for Shane, coming back. He's ready to be on the show now and face the music. Shane, what's happening?
It's been fantastic. Yeah, I wasn't gone for 2 weeks. I was gone for like 8 days, but it covered 2 Wednesdays. So great to be back. Time to set the record.
Where'd you go? Hold on, where'd you go?
I went to Arizona. It was fantastic. Went to Sedona, Arizona.
This had to be with a lady friend, huh?
Yeah, went with my girlfriend, which was great. I don't know how you guys probably can relate to this. With wrestling, by the end of the wrestling season, like it's, you got to come through for the wife or girlfriend because
yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it was good. Sedona's fantastic. And I was trying to think, Ben, love Mexican food. I know you do too. And you took me to that Mexican. I was going to text you because then I came back to Scottsdale. We had went to some Mexican restaurant in Arizona once that was fantastic, and that was.
What was it? The old tortilla factory? That place was so delicious.
It was us two and your mom. And I've said this story a million times. What I remember most about that night was your driving.
It was so amazing, right?
Oh, man, I'll never forget it. But, yeah, went to a couple of good Mexican restaurants, but that was a good time. Good to be back, though, with you guys.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we're going to go back in time, I guess, talk a little NCAAs maybe. I mean, I know Ben has plenty he wants to say. Shane, maybe. But Shane, you said you want to set the record straight.
He has to, he's got to set the record straight.
Yeah, here's the record straight, guys, and the film will reveal this. Penn State was the favorite. I picked Penn State to win. They were the favorite. No surprise.
I'm pretty sure you said at one point you said I had no idea.
I think there was
the words I had no idea were said.
That's fine. I didn't have any idea because you got to play the matches. But I said Penn State's the favorite. I also said if Iowa won, I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't have been. Now, I also would say this. When we had this debate, when this whole thing started, the extent of the injuries, I mean, we had this conversation weeks before the Big Ten when it started. Heading into it, I'm a believer, guys. I take this, it's sports. I'm never one of these guys that's just like, you just show up. And I would argue this point too. I think that when you just hand trophies over, it really, I don't want to say disrespects. I'm trying to think about the word I'm looking for. It minimizes how incredible Penn State's accomplishment is. Like, oh, they just got to show up. Like, they'll run away with this thing. It minimizes how difficult it is to win. It's hard to win these things. I don't care who you are. It's hard to do. And the fact that I said I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa won it, the reigning national champions, everybody back, albeit as we got closer to the tournament, they were injured. I'm not going back on that. I said Penn State was the favorites, but opinions don't matter in this sport. Once upon a time, opinions mattered in college.
No, but Shane, hold on, Shane. That's literally our job is to get on this show 3 times a week and give our opinion on what we think is going to happen.
And I gave my opinion. I said Penn State's the favorite. I wouldn't be shocked if Iowa won it, and I stand by that. Penn State got it done. They got it. What they're doing is incredible. And like I said, I think there's a little bit of it. When it's all just Penn State shows up, I think there's a little bit of it that minimizes just how special that team is and that coaching staff. This stuff's incredible. Nobody's going to deny that. Now let's talk. That's one thing I want to get taken care of. The second thing is, I think you guys owe me an apology. Patrick Glory make the final. Patrick Glory gives Suriano. Remember, I told you guys that Patrick Glory could beat Suriano. I wouldn't be surprised by that. And you guys, that is crazy. It's not crazy either. And at that time, I said he's the number. At that time, I think Glory was ranked number 1 in the country because Suriano hadn't come back. That wasn't surprising. And then I think the third thing I would say is I picked Keyshawn Clark to make the final. And now I'm not going to give myself
when?
Christian knows that on the show on that morning we did that show, Christian.
Christian, can you verify this?
Well, okay. I will say,
and I can take it one step further. I am in one pool only, and I don't talk about it because you guys know how I'm pretty paranoid on these things.
I don't talk about Bruno.
What's that?
Huh? No, I'm referencing a movie that my kids watched.
But now on this one, on Keyshawn Clark, that pick, it looks good on paper. It was an easier pick than you think it was. And I saw him here's why. I saw him in person. I never heard of him. I never heard of Keyshawn Clark, but we had a dual meet, first one of the year Big Ten at Nebraska. And I saw him in person and he beat Shad Red. And I was like, dang, this guy's good. I think it was overshadowed a little bit that night because Peyton Robb beat Austin O'Connor. That was probably the headline of that duel. He loses one match all year, and then he has a bad ACCs. But I liked where he was on the bracket. At that point, it was pretty clear Ironman was not right. So he had Ironman in the second round. I like that. I'm thinking, Sebastian Rivera, he can. If he wrestled Sebastian Rivera would probably beat him. But I'm thinking he could get there. It was an amazing run for him. But when you look at the whole thing, it's like, he's pretty darn good. Ironman wasn't right, and that's all part of it. And he got there. But NCAAs was fantastic, and there's nothing more. I mean, that 5 champions. And here's what impressed me most about Penn State.
No, you know what impressed me most about you, Shane? You came on here this morning. You flipped the script. You brought the heat. Let's move on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Didn't he flip the script on us, Christian?
Yeah, sort of. He did.
Come on.
We could pull the tapes.
No, I'm not denying that I never said I had no idea. I'm just that's how I feel going into these things. You want to know what some of it is, guys, too? Because I've actually thought about this. Like, man, Shane, I used to do a sports talk show 20 years ago, and it was really entertaining. And I think the reason it was entertaining is because I just wasn't that smart. And now that I've been around this stuff for 20 years, high-level athletics, professional sports, Division I college sports, I've gotten a whole new appreciation on how hard it is to win these things. Like, you could say this, guys, and Ben, you're out of the equation because you've done it, so you'll never quite get this, and that's not your fault.
Okay.
You could say, because I'm all about facts. I mean, you guys know how I'm on semantics. I can't say shocked. I mean, that stuff is like, that's just how I am. So win an NCAA Division I wrestling title is impossible.
But there's 10
impossible
every year. Every year, 10 people.
See, you've done it, Ben. You don't.
No, but there's literally 10 people every year.
Ben,
your terminology is not good here. This is not good terminology because literally 10 people do it.
Impossible means it's never happened.
It's somewhat tongue in cheek. But it's close enough to impossible to say it is and not get completely
no.
Okay, then hold on. Let me have just a moment. All right,
Christian's not gonna like this.
Here's the thing. It almost makes the whole you're a little slow to the Penn State thing even more because there's one team that's done the impossible more than anyone in the last 10 years. So at some point, when one team continually does the quote impossible, like around 3 per year on average, why is it not then like, okay, light bulb here, they're doing the impossible every single year, they're having 3 to 4 guys do it, and this year it happened to be 5. Why would that not then get a little alarm bells going off?
It's incredible, Christian. I don't care. It's what Penn State is doing. I don't think they're getting enough credit for what they're doing. Even this year, if you told me, guys, let's be honest, okay, this is just me. If you would have said to me, Fix beats RBY, and Makai Lewis beats Starachi, and Warner beats Dean, that just, and Miles Amin beat Brooks, like that, I can honestly tell you, at the end of that night, I wouldn't have been surprised at all. Like, yeah,
dude, Penn State losing 4 for 4, I would have been flipping.
No, they would have won 1. They would have won 1 with Nick Lee. Guys, even those matches,
I would have been so shocked.
They find a way to get them done, which is incredible. What they do is insane. But yeah, if they would have lost 4 of those matches, because I think the other thing, guys, is at the end of the day, it's every one of those matches is still its own entity, right? I mean, it's still their own entity. And what they've done is insane. I mean, it's crazy because like you said, Christian, it happens all the time. This is not like throwing paint, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. They get it done consistently. There's something to be said for that, no doubt about it. But my whole argument on this has always been it's wrestling. It's the top 1% of the top 1%, and anything can happen. These are one position matches. It's hard to win these things. It's hard. And like I said, I think you can say, if you said, I got to come up with some better analogies, but this is off the cuff. If somebody, God, I got to come up with something better than this. But let's say there's a girl that weighs 130 pounds. Okay?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. I'm treading on thin ice here.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even going there because it's not going to make any sense.
I don't know where you're going. Probably not.
My point is,
let's call her 160.
I'm going back to that impossible statement. If you say winning an NCAA title is impossible, it's so close. It's you can say it without somebody going, that is just the craziest thing you've ever said. It's like, no, it's close enough to impossible where you can say it and not get your chops busted.
Got it.
I'm busting some chops here because I think using the word, maybe we're doing semantics again. We do it for a whole show, but using the word impossible when 10 people accomplish defeat yearly is
10 people.
10 people win NCAA titles. It's every year.
God, I just can't
Crunch those
imagine.
numbers again, Ben.
What?
Crunch those numbers again. I'm not sure.
10 will win. I think 10 are going to win it next year. And then the year after that. Hey, let's talk about
how many wrestlers are there in college? All divisions.
A boatload.
So I mean, you're clearly in the top 1%.
I mean, you
right?
could say way more than that. You could say rare. You could say unique. You could say outstanding, impeccable.
I'll come up with something.
Not impossible. Not impossible.
Okay.
Every time I'm at that tournament.
You know what, Shane? If you said impossible and there was like something like where if they weren't good enough, then the NCAA is like, nah, you didn't get you were good. You get this other trophy, but you don't get the championship because you weren't good enough. That would be almost impossible. You didn't make the threshold to get the trophy.
I'll come up with something. But let me ask you this, Ben. When you go to that tournament and stuff, how often do you think about – because I'll turn it in my own life, okay? To do sports broadcasting is tough. Like to get to a high level, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And sometimes I have to think to myself to be grateful and be like, man, you dreamed of doing this stuff as a 10-year-old and somehow, some way, like, how did this happen? I mean, Big Ten Network, there's one guy that does the play-by-play. One guy. And by the grace of God, I get to do that. And sometimes I sit back and think, gosh, how did this happen to me? Like, how did this happen to me? Winning an NCAA title, winning 2 NCAA titles, winning Hodge trophies. Do you ever sit back and think, God, that's like, man, I can't believe this happened to me. You ever think like that or not? Like, you ever sit back and think, wow, what a run I had. You don't think like that?
Once in a while, once in a blue moon, I'll do that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty, honestly, I coach kids, so I try to make it as explainable as possible so kids can do it ideally more and more and more, right? We just had our first, and I hope that we're going to get a couple more and a couple more and then a bunch of them.
I never had dreams where I was half as good as you, Ben. Like, I never had a dream like that. I just, to stand atop that podium as a national champion and hear Jason Bryant or Brian Hazard say our national title as school songs going, knowing all the work that goes into it, one guy, it's the top 1%. I mean, and this is something, Ben, that you'll say sometimes. Now that, I'm on a roll today, so I might as well keep going. I don't get offended easily. Like, I'm like almost impossible to offend. I mean, it's hard to offend me. And
what's your hot button issue?
Hot button issues for me are littering. Anybody that litters, I can go from.
I agree.
I can go from 0 to 100.
What are they even doing with their life?
People that litter drive me nuts. But And I would say, Ben, most of your takes on social media, I probably agree with 99% of them. I mean, I agree. I got to remind myself a lot of times to like them. Mad? I don't want to like them because I'm thinking, this day and age, I'm a little paranoid. But the only thing you say sometimes is you'll be like, this guy's horrible. And I'm like, horrible? He's a Division I wrestler in the national tournament. Like,
well, it's
horrible.
My perspective.
I would kill to suck that bit. When you make the national tournament, Kyle Rochelle said something to me that was really interesting at the tournament. And he's coaching at Chattanooga right now, had a good career at Wisconsin. And Kyle goes, you know what? When I used to wrestle, and I want to be careful, I got to be careful to put words in his mouth, but what I recall him telling me was, he goes, when I was an athlete, we thought if you didn't make the national, we thought that if you didn't make the D1 tournament, like you sucked. He goes, now as a coach, it's like we are doing all we can to get a guy to the national tournament.
Yeah.
Like it's just, to get to that national tournaments, you got to be pretty special just to make it there.
All right.
So I won't say.
On the scope of things, because I do sometimes my middle schools come in and they'll be like, that dude sucks, and I'm like, listen, you ain't get to talk like that because you're like third in the state, and that dude's like sixth in the country. You suck compared to him. So until you get to his level, you can't talk like that. I can say whatever the hell I want. You don't get to. You sit there and you.
That's fair. That's fair.
But, so I yell at the middle schoolers because they'll come in and sometimes they'll be like, he sucks. I'm like, bro, he's like eighth in the country. You need to be quiet.
Yeah. But no, Penn State amazes me. I mean, it's amazing. And I of those 5 performances, Carter Starachi he's a different kind of beast, man. He's a different kind of beast. And RBY, I mean, Roman Bravo Young, I mean, you could look at this sport 30 years down the road. I don't want to be a complete prisoner of the moment, but
No, Penn State's doing very special things. Can we talk about this NLI?
Yeah, we got to. We got to get off. We got to get off the how hard freaking it is to win into. My gosh, we all know. We got.
Thank you guys for letting me go.
We need a moratorium on describing the difficulty of NCAAs. Everyone, it's not a surprise. Everyone knows. Okay, we got to move on to the topic at hand.
That got everyone heated, Christian. So do I get to lead this section off?
Yeah, rumor mill Ben.
Oh,
listen, okay, here's what the first thing I want to say. People's reading comprehension on social media is not very good. I simply said, here's something I received. I have no idea whether it's true or not. I didn't even try to verify it. I just thought it was interesting and I wanted to talk about it. That's it. But guess what? Me putting it out there, it led me to getting a lot more information, which was also a nice byproduct.
There you go. It's going to reinforce the behavior, isn't it, Ben?
Absolutely. And I'm not going to do it all the time, but I will do it on select opportunities. I think and listen, I've said it a lot. I've said it on this show, and I mean it. If there's an athlete who's considering going to Missouri and they're maybe on the fence, hit me up. AWA will sponsor you for $10,000 a year or something. I'm not sure. I'll pay you. Damn straight. And guess what? It's legal. You guys can't do a damn thing about it. So, yes, I find this NIL stuff very interesting. I enjoy that college athletes are probably getting paid. And, I mean, maybe that's another topic we could say for another show is like Mark Branch made those posts about love of the sport, which I freaking love wrestling. I would definitely do it for free. Another topic, right? NLI stuff, I find it fascinating that guys are getting paid. I don't think the 100K is true. I heard rumors of more to Iowa. I also don't think that's true either. I'm curious to see what you think.
We haven't actually said, you never actually said what you put out there. So to get people up to speed,
sorry.
No one knows.
I figure everyone knew. Yeah. They all do.
They probably do, but let's just.
Well, here's the tweet. It's on the screen, I think. I can't see because it's small, but I believe you're putting my tweet up there. And it's saying, I heard a rumor. Don't know if it's true. Real Woods was offered $100K to go to the by the NLDCB to go to Penn State. And, yeah, you guys could say, like Jeff saying, you got him on social media. No, I didn't. You guys are dumb. You don't have good reading comprehension. I put something out there, and it was really positive for me. I got a lot of really good information out of this. So
now the interesting thing about it is Real Woods is not going to Penn State. In fact, he's going to Iowa.
He's going to Iowa.
He's going to Iowa, which I got to say, I've been off the boards mostly, but the Hawkeye Report 180 was just Amazing. Oh, they're recruiting over
so
their
funny?
guys, and like they're so mad at Penn State. How do they do this? How do they do this? And then he's a Hawkeye, and it's like, oh wow, this is great. It was like the most vintage like fan. I mean, it's just they're fans. That's the way it works.
Social media these days, right? If it's something that confirms something you already like or you want, let's do it. The second it flips, even though it's the same damn thing, oh, that's so terrible. Boo.
Exactly. So it's huge. Now the interesting thing is like how out there it was just in the rumor mill. Here's the interesting thing. The timeline is fascinating to me because. Listen, we were getting the similar information about the real saga, right? Rumor mill of NIL deals to different schools, and it was a lot of the blue bloods. It was Penn State, it was Iowa, it was Michigan, Ohio State. That was the rumor for Real Woods, and it was really the unsaid thing here, at least at this point, is like Stanford's staff was facilitating a lot of this information, right? Real was telling them. And then eventually it was getting out through that medium, right? That, hey, Real's looking, he's going. And this was before he ever went in the portal. All this stuff was happening, right? And technically, even if you're a graduate transfer, these discussions aren't supposed to be happening. We all know that they do happen. So he goes in the portal. He goes in the portal April 1, April 2. He's committed to
and April
Iowa.
1, hold on, but you forgot an important piece there.
April Fool's Day.
You forgot. No,
Do not contact.
Not talking about that. I was talking about that he was do not contact once he entered the portal.
Well, and now here's the thing about do not contact. That doesn't mean no one's in contact with him.
Correct. It means he's already in contact with somebody.
Yeah, he's just he knows. Real Woods knows basically where he would want to go or where he would want to wrestle. So he's gonna lead those conversations. And the fact that he's a graduate transfer really simplifies things a lot more too. It's a lot easier to get into a graduate school. Than when you're trying to transfer in middle of your major or whatever. So the timelines are...
Hey, one more thing. Jeff Baxter says some nonsense in the chat. He said Iowa doesn't have that kind of money. I think it's false, the 200K thing. They just raised like $27 million. They got that money.
Yeah, they're going to build the most gaudy, incredible facility wrestling has ever known. So
yes,
they have money.
Come on, man.
Now, listen, the Iowa wrestling program... If there is some sort of a deal with Real, which we have no idea if there is one, it's not going to be funded by Iowa Wrestling.
Tom Brands is not going to get him a suitcase full of cash.
No, it is someone.
Chevy Bowman Dodge.
It could be Steve Bowman Chevy Dodge. Could be funding this. It could be something like that where you've got an outside donor, of which there are many. Just like Penn State has big money donors, just like freaking the Covelli Center at Columbus, Ohio. That was a high dollar donor who put his name on the current class of wrestling facilities.
For some of our naive listeners out there, if you were wanting to get something like this done, here's how you get done. You're not going to go, if you're a booster and you're super rich, you're going to go, hey, Kale, can I go give this guy some money? You're not going to do that. You're just going to give the damn guy some money.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. So there's a couple of things going on. You have the ripple effect of all the transfers, and we said this as soon as NCAAs ended. Look at this guy, got the whole pot.
I brought my coffee, so I'm home alone today, so I brought the whole coffee pot. It's all me.
Wow.
Take that, Piles.
Single father Ben, really doing it. Good job.
So
there's a lot of interesting things. We said, hey, this is gonna be the craziest freaking transfer season probably ever, right? And it's probably gonna be like this moving forward. And immediately you got a guy like Real in the portal, and the ripple effect of that. Wyatt Henson, who is on Iowa, immediately goes in the portal after Real commits, and so that'll kind of move around like that. But then there's the impact of like, what is the impact of Real Woods going to Iowa that I think is interesting to wrestling fans? What does it mean to get a guy who, I think on paper he's the favorite to win 41 right now. I know he got 6. I know there's guys in the field that beat him, but that's just kind of my read. I think of the pedigrees.
Why do you think? I'm gonna have to look at the result exactly now. Why do you consider him the favorite, given that he was not the highest returning finisher?
I just think if you wrestle the field with that field minus all the guys that graduated 100 times, I think he's better.
Sorry, let me
Just
I'm
my
going to look at
opinion.
this path real quick. Oh, damn it. These brackets aren't filled out.
I think he lost to
Give me the final
Willits
And Matthews.
and Matthews.
Well, so Matthews is back, and Willis
And
is
Willis.
back.
They're both back.
They're both back. So given that just happened, I'm just curious. Well, I mean, because obviously, if you said he's going to finish high, I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever. But the fact that, you're saying that he's the favorite, given he just lost.
Maybe not
to
the
these
favorite.
people.
Okay. Change. We'll
In the
go.
mix.
We'll
He
go
could win.
semantic
He
again.
could win.
Semantic. I will pick him to win of the field. I think he's the best guy.
Okay.
So he's not the favorite. He's who I think will win, and he's who I thought will win before he went to Iowa. If he stayed at Stanford, I would say I think he'll win.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because his training the last couple of years too has been. He's Real Woods is phenomenal. I'd agree with you, Christian.
yeah. And
Damn, I didn't realize he semi-slided. Jeez Louise.
semi-slid, yes indeed. So that's high. Obviously, gonna be high impact. But for Iowa, they clause him closer, but they're still
So far back.
They need Roman to not come back, and they need other things. They need Shane Van Ness and Bo Bartlett to basically do nothing next year. They need them to not wrestle Levi Haynes. They need Robbie Howard to not be right.
If you were an Iowa donor, would you pay RBY to go fight? Like, hey, listen, man, I will pay you. Just go fight. Be done with this wrestling thing. You're out of here.
That's the real chess move. Is start
That's
just
a chess
paying guys
move.
to not wrestle. Just go. Hey, just move on, man. It's fine. Honestly, the ultimate, you got to get them to wrestle for your team. That's like a 40-point swing there.
Mm-hmm. Because Iowa doesn't have anyone at 33 next year. That's
Well, it'll be Schriever.
Like I said, no one's going to score big points.
Yeah. I think when they wrestled him last year during the season when they pulled his red shirt with DeSanto there, that kind of maybe I'm reading into it too much, but that told me something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't think if you think a guy's gonna be high impact for a number of years, you don't just
Burn a shirt.
completely waste a year of his eligibility. I mean, I say completely waste. He did wrestle in a couple matches, but that's it. That's one less NCAA tournament that guy gets to do.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, Shane, what is your thoughts on this is going to change? I feel like, Shane, you probably have a very strong opinion about this. I don't know if we'll get it, but I feel like that the NIL and the transfer and the more moving of athletes. What are your thoughts on it?
My initial thought is I'm glad I don't coach wrestling. I can't imagine the stress of being a college wrestling coach when it just seems like you don't know what's going to happen. I'm not a big fan of it, but I get it. I understand it. I don't fault people for bettering themselves. At the end of the day, these guys, it's their life. They can do whatever they want to, and they got to do what they feel is best for them. So I 100% get it. I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm just not a big fan of it because I just think it's, and I could be wrong here, but I think this stuff just affects a few people. I don't think I shouldn't say that. I think it initially affects a few people, and then obviously the ripple effect affects a bunch of people. But I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe I'm just this old guy, get off my lawn, but man, I kind of like it, years back when you went to a place, you stayed there, and now it's
do we know? Be interesting. This would be a Flow Quants. If you're listening, the Flow Quants put together like an amount of transfers per year type thing. Because I'm curious. I am sure it has went up. I'm just curious how much it has went up. And obviously we talked about, if you're going to sit on the bench for a year because you can't wrestle, because if you transfer, then yes, you're like less likely to transfer. But I would just be curious how much it went up on a per year basis. Can we have the Flow Quants do that or what?
That's you just invented that actually doesn't exist. So
No, you guys have. I've been in that back room. There's like 6 guys that just sit on the computers and do stats.
Wow. You know what? Next time you're in town, show me that room.
You never been there?
No, I've never been there. I don't have a security clearance, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, transfers are going to go up. It's going to get a lot easier. It's just like John Smith obviously has his reservations about it.
We discussed that.
What about you guys? Are you guys? We just haven't talked. You guys big fans of it, or?
Yes.
Big fan.
I root for topics. I root for narrative.
From that standpoint, it's interesting, no question.
Well, no, but I am for fairness to athletes, and when a coach can transfer somewhere and coach immediately and with absolutely no punishment, why shouldn't an athlete be able to do this?
But don't you think, guys, this is more football?
Probably. I don't give a shit about football. I'm talking about wrestling here.
But that's why wrestling's different. I mean, I agree with you, and if that was the case, I mean, how many wrestling coaches change? It doesn't seem like it's many to me.
Yeah, it's a lot. Not just. I mean, when we're talking about the head coach, we're talking about all assistants. Yeah, it's quite a few.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Carter Young thing for with Kennedy leaving. That was a big factor for him.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jimmy Kennedy can leave, and I mean, I'm good with it. And I mean, the statement I made when we talked about this, I don't know, was it 3 weeks ago or whatever, guys? It was just like, if the athlete, it's one of those guys that always thinks it's someone else's issue or someone else's problem why he's not having success, that person probably will be a cancer or a problem no matter where they go. And so, you do open up that a little bit, but at the same time, I think for certain athletes who at age 18 are convinced to go somewhere and they maybe don't make a good decision, they should be able to leave without too large of a penalty. Because that same thing abides for older coaches who are much more mature and have a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, I do think athletes should be able to move around, and there's no guarantees of aid on the other side of it, right? Like the other team have to agree to pay you whatever you think, or I think overall it's healthy. I think it's good. I do think, you could find an example of someone who's scapegoating the institution or looking for the easy way out, but that's not something that didn't exist previously, right? Yes. Guys would leave, and sometimes fresh starts are best for both parties, right? Sometimes you just need to start over, and we've seen a lot of examples of that. So I think it's good. And one thing for me, when I think about the NIL thing, it's like, man, isn't this going to supercharge the power programs and just make the separation even more like, insurmountable? And that's maybe true. It may be the case, right?
It's possible.
I mean, it's everyone knows the financials for these power programs is just like it's just a different strata. But the other thing I was thinking about for a smaller program, I don't even know if this is true, and Ben, maybe you would have a little more insight. This really would be a college coach that could probably help more. But when you think about like donating to a program, like Ben, if you wanted to like write a check right now for Missouri wrestling,
I've donated. I mean, not large amounts, but I've donated in the past.
Okay, but it's not. You can't just give to the wrestling program. It's not as simple as that. There are some schools.
Yeah.
Hold on. Some schools have like the giving day or the whatever, and you can give and they match or whatever. But it's not as simple as giving $1 million check to a program. But if you're a booster, let's say what?
I said I haven't done that much.
Haven't done that much. Give it time. But if you're a program and you really want to support Wyoming, let's just say. So you said Mark Branch, so I thought of that. And you're like, I really want to be a big. Why wouldn't you just say, okay, I'll just set up one every year. I'll do a $150,000 NIL fund for wrestlers, and then just do it that way. And wouldn't that be a way more efficient way to have a super direct impact on the program, on the wrestlers? Maybe it can be an asset for these small programs. That could be a pie in the sky. Thought.
Okay, can I give a few thoughts on that? I mean, that's an interesting statement. So I know like Brian Smith does have a separate. He's trying to endow the program in Missouri. I believe. I think that's what I donated to. The Missouri Wrestling Foundation. And so I think some colleges do have that. Like I know some you do have to donate to the General Athletics Fund, but I think some have a separate thing. But yes, that brings up an interesting point, Christian. I think, could you give NIL deals to other athletes? I think and you know what? Honestly, it may be more efficient because contrary to what people thought initially, most of these athletes from a real NIL perspective are not really worth anything at all. They cannot generate revenue for business. And so for the majority of wrestling Division I athletes, they're getting a total of $0. So and then the second thing to go on that is that college kids are all broke. They don't not make a lot of money, right? They're in school. So for a donor who's wealthy to give, $5,000 for a kid, like that's going to make a difference for that kid, right? And I don't know if they're going to flip him to make a decision in one college or the other, but that will be impactful.
No question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Christian, didn't Kayla ask you one time if you got the ideas?
No, I guess
You got
if
a
I had
plan?
a plan.
Well, it sounds like you got a plan.
have
This
lots
is
of
not a
plans.
bad plan. I kind
A
of
lot
like
great
it.
ideas. Yeah. What's interesting is the how this impacts recruiting, because the coaches technically are not able to say, hey, come here. Yeah, we don't have this scholarship money, but there's this NIL situation over here. They're not allowed to say that, but
You'd never put that in a text, or you'd be a moron.
no, but I'm certain it's being said.
I wouldn't be shocked. Yes.
Yeah, in pitches to kids. So
Although I can tell you, I have contact with a lot of athletes from AWA. And obviously Keegan did the Scrap Life thing, and he's getting quite a few emails for camps and stuff.
I didn't know that. When did that come out? Did you know that?
I was in for. I obviously wanted to go with Rudis, so it was in for. That he announced it NCAA Finals Day. So did they have it? Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah, geez, we're under rock piles.
He's working on that Elon Musk deal, right?
He wants the Tesla deal too.
Okay.
I could say that a very high majority of the athletes that have came through my program they're not getting any NIL. Like even I don't know that Parker, who's 2-time third, is getting barely anything. I don't think Peyton Mako is getting anything, and he's around 12 guys. So I think these NIL deals, to my point, are really really few and far between.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, let me throw this out there. I think maybe the bigger question on this NIL stuff right now from a recruiting standpoint is what are the guys thinking that are there already? I mean, and again, I have no idea because I don't know the facts. But one of the first things I thought about with the Real Woods deal is, I mean, what's Spencer Lee getting? Like, if you're, I think that's where this becomes complicated. Like what I said before, like I wouldn't want to coach college wrestling. I'm really curious to see how that, to me, is maybe the more interesting story. Is some of the guys that are there that have been there for a while, like everybody wants their piece of the pie, usually.
Yeah. I think that's a simple one. And I'll give you a piece of business advice. But the guy Chatri, who he ran Evolve before he ran one championship, he said never do a sale with AWA because people who are your previous customers will then feel slighted by your new customers getting a better deal. And to this day, we run a sale every year when we do summer camps. The first 2 weeks is a sale, but for our academy membership, we never do sales, right? And we never do deals. Good wrestlers want deals, and we say no because that would be unfair to the people who are already here paying membership. So I would think it would have to be something like that. Because yes, if the current guys you have in your team aren't getting anything, and then you're going to spend money to get transfers, that is not going to be good for team chemistry. It will be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're doing that. It was just the first thing I thought about when I saw that. I'm like, man, this could be interesting.
This is why I got so mad at JCPenney. Bought all those dress shirts there, and then they have a going out of business sale. Where's the
It
loyalty?
encourages bad customer behavior because then the other thing is like,
that is fantastic.
then the customer's going to wait for the next sale. They're going to say, I know there's going to be another sale. I'm just going to wait. And then they're not going to buy anything because they want another sale.
This is why I go to Ross Dress for Less. Everything's always on sale.
Yeah,
It's like Kohl's in Wisconsin. Every time you go to Kohl's, I haven't been there in a while, but it's like when you leave there, it's like everything's on sale, and then it's like, yeah, you saved $320 today. I mean, it's like that must be their little deal that they do. It's every time they got to tell you how much money you save. It's like, okay, yeah,
baby.
Sure.
Did I really? Okay, so no sales for AWA. You wouldn't even give a discount for Natalie Piles. Wow, heartless.
Natalie Piles can get lost.
What? You know what? That's going to fuel her training.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on the major storyline? I'm sure there'll be other ripple effects. Honestly, we could pull in the transfer tracker. There's some other names in here that are definitely notable. One, Tate Samuelson of Wyoming, actually.
What? That's a solid one.
Yeah. He's a graduate transfer. But here's the one that caught my eye, because so many teams need a heavyweight. Yaroslav Slavakuski. I don't know if you watched this guy.
I just read this last night.
He's a dang beast. This guy is really good.
Can you answer me a question first? Why? Okay, where was he this year? Because I totally forgot of him. And why do you guys have him ranked like fifth?
He got injured at CKLV and he tore his ACL.
He got trobbed up. Gas Tank Gary took him out for the year.
So he obviously has to be at least moderately intelligent if he was attending Harvard.
And graduated.
And he graduated.
Oh, he already graduated from Harvard.
He's in as a graduate transfer.
Oh, dang. Oh, okay. I see the sheet now. Oh, wow. Yeah, that'll be a nice pickup for someone right there because he's pretty dang tough.
Yeah, and you already got your Harvard. So who? I don't know where he's going to wind up.
Because our power programs don't need a heavyweight. Michigan's got Paris. Penn State's got Greg.
Oklahoma State could probably use him.
Oklahoma State. Listen, you're not.
That's quite a move from Harvard.
State, are you?
Harvard to Oklahoma State. He's already got the super duper degree.
Wow.
I get a little graduate school.
Ohio State should do it.
Ohio State?
Yeah.
What?
They got Feldman. I forgot they had Feldman coming in.
How many years eligibility do they have left?
I'm not sure. Probably 1 or 2.
How do you spell Slavakuski again? I'm gonna wrestle stat. Slavakuski.
It's just like it's normally spelled. Just how it's just the conventional spelling of Slavakuski.
I did not get close enough. Damn it.
Yeah. So he's a good one for sure. Other name, Sammy Hilligus. I don't know if we mentioned this on the last show. He went in the portal.
He might have 3 years of eligibility left. Sorry.
Slavakuski?
He had 2020 and 2021. Medical last year. 2021 doesn't count because it was free year.
Oh, snap. Well, he didn't wrestle because he was at an Ivy. So I don't know how that affects it. Slavakuski could be a guy with a couple years. Man, yeah, 2020. He wrestled, national qualified.
But also, if he was in school, he might have. I don't know, is what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying there's potential for 3 years.
It's a free-for-all at these points. You guys do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
What a beast. Graduating from Harvard and then, maybe having 2 or 3 years left.
2 or 3 years? You want to sign him up. Let's see. Where else needs a heavyweight?
He got more degrees than Downey if he keeps going.
Downey didn't graduate anything.
He got his associates and his bachelor's.
Stop.
Okay.
It's Iowa education, baby.
That's right. So he's a big one. Sammy Hilligus out of Virginia Tech. He's notable. DJ Shannon was a pretty big recruit back in the day. Has not materialized at this point. No other big ones gone in the portal at this point. Kennedy Monday, I think we already talked about. I thought he was done. But not done and back. But he wants to leave North Carolina.
Slavakuski's the biggest one. It's funny that all the better programs right now all have really good heavyweights, and multiple years left. I mean, heavyweight's kind of a beast mode right now.
Yeah, it's really good. Except there's one school that could use a heavyweight.
Oklahoma State.
Gable Dan. It's going to leave a big hole there.
It is.
I can't believe we've gone this shot.
What?
Well, what? You what?
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it was you WrestleMania dorks. You bring it up every 4 seconds. This guy was on WrestleMania,
did we get this far?
And you didn't even bring it up. How am I the one that is bringing this up, Ben?
Gable Samson. I didn't actually see this shirt. You guys have the shirt in the doc. I didn't actually see the shirt. I only saw him. I don't. Was that the Greco guy that he was messing with?
Yeah. Yep.
What's Bicep? Is that Bicep? No. Chaz Betts.
Yeah, Chaz Betts.
Yeah, here's the shirt. I don't understand the shirt.
I did not see this.
It was cool until the hand raise and the buttons.
Yeah, it really tested the limitations of that shirt.
I do think the WWE probably picks his outfits, so we're not gonna put that one on Gable.
No,
I bet he does.
You think so?
No, I think
it's show business. You don't pick your own clothes.
That's definitely something Gable would wear.
Maybe. I don't think you pick your own clothes. I don't know.
Guys, I got to tell you this. Sunday morning, I got SportsCenter on, and they bring in Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and they're talking strategy with those guys. I mean, I was like,
no.
I mean, I'll say this. Oh, yeah. They are talking, Roman Reigns is giving the game plan on how he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. He wants to get Brock to lose focus. His exact words were, we got to get Brock to take his eye off the ball. Like, I loved WrestleMania as a kid. There is no denying it's entertaining. People love it. It's not my thing right now. I mean, I still like to watch like Bobby Stevenson, Gable Stevenson, Casper, like guys that were wrestlers.
A lot of wrestlers in there.
It's fun to watch those guys, and I love watching them. Nico Bogievich was.
Are we hearing? Yeah, you know who else is in there, Shane? You're gonna love this throwback right here. And then my buddy told me about him, and because I don't watch, you do sound kind of like a big WWE fan though.
I don't watch it.
Don't lie. The kid from Franklin. Who's the kid from Franklin that wrestled for the Badgers?
Oh, Bugenhagen.
Yes,
Eric Bugenhagen.
I like watching him. Yeah, I love watching these guys pursue their dreams.
What's his WWE name?
Oh, what is it? He plays the guitar and stuff. See, I follow him on social media.
My buddy Truman told me about it.
Rick Boogs? Oh, my
Rick
God.
Boogs.
I can't.
Yeah, there we go.
Rick Boogs. Eric Bugenhagen was a stud. I remember him.
Yeah, I was doing PA when he wrestled, and the old Madison Fieldhouse has great acoustics. So when I'd say, boo, and the place would just echo. But he wrestled with Kyle Massey. Bugenhagen and Massey were both heavyweights at the time. But it's not my thing. I appreciate what they're doing. I think it's awesome. Again, like they're, pursuing what they want to do. But when SportsCenter is breaking down strategy, that's where I was like,
wow,
man.
That's got to be. There's a lot of rock bottom moments for ESPN. That's got to be up there. You're breaking down. You're breaking down the strategy of a.
Piles, you're gonna get slapped.
That's showbiz, baby.
I'm gonna get slapped.
Is this real?
What's the guy's name? We brought it up last week.
Rick Boogs.
No, the guy that slapped the guy.
His name was Rick Boogs too.
No, it wasn't.
He must be doing pretty good. He's got 176,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, the WWE does very well.
Oh my God!
I did get sucked into going back. I will admit this. I was curious as to who won the match, so I actually did go back to see who won it, just because I did.
Who won?
Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns won.
Gable lost his title. That means. I'm sorry, Brock. Gable. Brock. That means Gable's got to go avenge his Minnesota brother.
His mentor.
Yeah, and Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari's on Instagram. He's there with like Metcalf, the wide receiver from the Seahawks. I saw him there, and Ferrari I think is just made. Gable's huge. I mean, Gable will be great, but Ferrari's made for WWE.
Hey, Sparks, he's got more eligibility. Does he finish his eligibility, or does he go to WWE first?
Yo, he sees Gable there. He wants to get out. He wants to go to WWE.
He's done, huh? WWE?
I have no idea. I know this about Ferrari, and I like him. Nothing would, we talk about being shocked and not being surprised. Nothing surprises me with him. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced Gable's done at Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. If I'm a betting man, I think he comes back, but who knows?
So Bugenhagen hurt his leg at WrestleMania. My guy John Beal says it's the craziest leg injury he's ever seen.
Oh, really?
He got hurt for real?
That's what he says. I don't know what to tell you.
Doing the fake wrestling?
Okay, guys, we started talking about WrestleMania. People in the chat got jacked up. They were excited.
People love it. The production, I mean, just watching the promos and stuff on social media, I will say the production value, say what you want about WrestleMania, the vision that Vince McMahon had, I mean, people love it. They love it. I mean, it's not my thing, but people love it. I loved it in the 80s. Now I just, I can't get into it, but it's
back when it was real.
What they're doing it's big time.
Yeah. I guess that's undeniable. Everything else is just not for me. It's okay, but I'm happy for Gable. I want to like, it would be great for me because I love watching Gable do things. It's like, okay, I'll get into this. And then I saw the one clip on social media. I could barely finish it. The cringe.
Oh God, you're such a prude.
No, it's not a prude. It's just like, that doesn't entertain me.
What clip, Christian?
Him slamming Chaz.
Yeah.
It's like,
Nice back
he
arch.
didn't
Got a
actually
little-
talk. It was the other guy.
5 points.
I was like, oh man, I don't know, it's okay.
Maybe his mic skills aren't ready yet.
Yeah, he'll get
They're
there.
leveling him up. They're leveling him up.
I mean,
a little bit.
WrestleMania, they brought in Johnny Knoxville was in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think Johnny Knoxville was there.
Oh yeah, the mousetrap.
Yeah, it's like they're bringing in everybody. I thought, Ben, hell, I thought maybe you'd be in there. Surprised you haven't
Maybe
been
next
in
year.
WrestleMania.
Maybe next year. Never know.
Ben, you got a black eye. What happened?
I wrestled Parker.
Oh,
That was so fun.
you still get your head in the way of those shots?
Not that much. I was just like one time. I'm not an idiot. I know he's gonna shoot no matter what. So no, I'm a little more wise than that.
Yeah, well, not
When you
wise
wrestled
enough.
with him, Ben, how close are you guys in weight?
I was 195 after we wrestled. So
That's
maybe
good.
have a couple pounds.
How does that go with him? When you guys go, how does it go?
He probably doesn't want me to talk about it.
Real? You can still. If it came right down to it, you'd beat him in a wrestling match.
Yeah, you can ask him. I don't know.
Now that's crazy that you still got it.
Yes.
I would always bet on a college kid, right? Christ,
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know. Well, in a lot of circumstances, maybe, but you watch. They say Schwab is still not that far off what he was. He would maybe not even agree with that, but these guys can still go. The ones that keep themselves in shape and stay on the mat, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's if the circumstances are right, they can go with them. One time, one go for.
We want a 30-minute go because I just want. Here's what I told Parker. He's like, "Why do you want to wrestle with me?" And you know what? I actually enjoy wrestling. I don't know about everyone else. I enjoy wrestling. That was part of why I got so good at it because I just liked it. And the amount of times a year right now I get to shake someone's hand and they just try to beat their ass as bad as I can. It's really limited, very, very limited. I can't do that to my high school guys. They would just cry and it wouldn't be good for them. It wouldn't be good for me. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
So to actually I get to really there's someone who is really good. I can just go hard on. It's very limited. So I really enjoy wrestling. I got to wrestle Parker. It was a blast. He did get me one time with probably his head there, but I mostly stayed out of the way of his head.
That's smart. What? How? Do you ever go with Max?
No, Max got no. We haven't wrestled in ages.
Really?
I don't know. I think for Max and I, it's more I don't know. We haven't wrestled, but I think a lot of it's hey, if we're going to put our time and energy, we might as well be making kids better, right? It's why would we make each other better at wrestling at this point? We're not trying to be competitive with anything.
How's Max doing?
He's good. He's taking a big group. He has a big group going to New York for Journeyman this weekend. I think that's on Flow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's going out there. I'm sending a few guys from my place, but Max got more from his place going.
It sounds like your son and his son will be a pretty good tag team duo one day.
Dude, they are funny. I had some. I should put it on the. Oh man, can I send it to you? I'll send it to Tyler. These dudes, they are hilarious, and it's really funny because they're just about the same. Oh, shout out Tyler! I meant to say this earlier, Christian. Episode 774. Tyler's area code 774.
Oh,
Massachusetts.
Shout out to producer Tyler in Massachusetts.
Hold on.
I think it's Slavakuski.
I'm gonna send Tyler a funny video.
Well, he wrestles there. All right, send it.
Max just have one, Ben?
Yeah, Max has one, but it's funny because they're the same exact age difference as Max and I.
Okay.
2 years, 2 months, and Max and I are 2 years, 2 months apart. I'm sending Tyler a funny video. I don't know if he'll get it and be able to put it up of Ozzy and Luca.
Yes.
So Ozzy, I'm a terrible father, Christian.
Now,
I got home. Ozzy wanted to battle, so I said, "Let's battle." And we were kind of running around and playing and whatnot, And he likes weapons, so he wanted to use the ukulele to strike me.
Oh no, Ben!
I ran and I kind of tapped the door closed, and it bounced back and hit him right in the forehead, and he split open. And he had to get his forehead glued back together.
What? He hit that hard that he split his head?
Well, he was swinging, and the door was coming this way, so it went boom, and it hit him back in the forehead. Man. So that was within like 15 minutes of me getting home. And then he was so funny because then he came home, and my wife, Amy, is like, Ozzy, the doctor said you can't battle for 2 days. He's like, oh, but I want to battle. That's all he wants to do.
You got to write this stuff down. I know you don't forget stuff. But that's freaking hilarious.
It's hilarious. Oh, I sent Tyler the video. It's hilarious. I don't know if he'll bring it up. We need something cute for our morning.
Okay.
All right, where are we going now?
Where are we going? Okay, so we had the Farrell. We could talk about that a little bit. Seth Gross might be a 65-kilogram guy now. He wrestled there, and it sounds like he might be a 65er for good. I think probably not 57 here. We can play it here.
Is that the plan to stay up there? Or are you going to go down to 61?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes the next month or so. But I'm kind of. We'll decide soon here and talk with the coaches. But if I can compete at 65, I'm gonna be there. So.
That's a man who wants to stay at 65 unless his coach tells him to go back down.
He wants to eat.
57 and 65 are too far apart. It is not good.
Yeah, well, there is 61, which would be.
But you know how everyone thinks about it. They think it's not a non-Olympic weight.
I mean, for Seth, getting on a team is a huge freaking deal.
I don't disagree. I'm just telling you. I mean, you know the way these guys think.
I do. Yeah, the distance is bananas, frankly. But it would be interesting if he does. Pantaleo did not end up wrestling like we thought he might. I think he's registered. Ashnault beat Berger late on criteria. This was kind of a controversial finish. Did you see this, Ben?
Dude, the Bill Farrell matches were lost, and they were lost because there was 20 some other mats going on, and they were kind of like having them they were kind of like in the middle and the back, and I saw none of them.
Okay, how did AWA do at Folk Style Nationals?
We did all right. We had 20 All-Americans or something. We finished second place in the high school showcase to I think we lost to Team Idaho, well, the whole state of Idaho,
the entire state unified.
Yeah. So we won 16U champ Kellen Wolbert. Yeah, it was good.
Who did Sinclair lose to in the finals? Kid from
Sinclair
Milton.
lost to Knock Borden, however you say his name. He's kind of but he lost to him at Super 32. He beat him in an in-season tournament, and then he just lost to him.
Where's he from? Illinois?
No, Iowa.
Oh, he's from okay.
He's going to Iowa State?
Knockborn, yes.
That Sinclair's a stud.
It's going to be a cyclone.
Sinclair?
No.
Knockborn.
Okay. Yeah, because Sinclair's just a soft. Is he a sophomore?
Yeah,
right
he's
now?
young too. He's actually 16U, but he obviously wanted to bump up to wrestle the showcase. So
okay,
he'll be at 16U for Fargo, and obviously he'll be 17U for the UWWs.
He's gonna be a junior next year.
Yep.
Whoa, and we got the finish of this Ashnault Berger match. Actually, this is the beginning. I don't know if we have these are the little 2-minute highlight jobbers.
I don't know why they decided to put the Farrell at the Folk Style Nationals, but it did kind of it really got lost in the shuffle. I felt like no one was paying any type of attention to it at all. And they didn't even give it the, what would be the word? Maybe respect. But right. So there was a stage for the finals type stuff. And the finals of the Bill Farrell didn't even go up on the stage.
Really?
It was in the back, they were hiding it.
Yeah. So we have the Lucas. Lucas, is that his name?
Luca
Ozzy footage here.
Look at these maniacs.
Yeah. Oh my. Look at this. Is that Ozzy on the left?
Oh yeah, Ozzy on the left, Luke's on the right. They're flexing on it. They wanted to. Ozzy was hot inside. He wanted to take his shirt off, so then Luca took his shirt off to copy him. And then they decided they wanted to go outside and play in the snow.
Oh my gosh.
That's how we roll.
Guys are living the dream. Look at them. Those guys are living the dream. You got the noodle out there. Good stuff.
What's the noodle? Just is that a battle weapon?
You got kids? I don't know what they're doing. They just get random crap from the basement and go, make up something, and you don't know what they're doing. They could be doing anything.
Dang. You gotta is that current weather right now? It sounds like it's the current weather conditions in Wisconsin.
Horrible here.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Brutal.
Man. Well, you think that's bad? It's gonna be like 80 all week here and sunny.
It's going to be pushing 100 today.
It's horrible.
I'm going to Miami tomorrow, Christian, so I will not be complaining about the weather.
Nice.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
very good. We got this. Can we play this fight of your life trailer?
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
This is so good. This is I'll talk about it after we play the trailer, but it's really it's our Flow film about. It centers around Gregor Gillespie, but it's bigger than that. The directions the film goes, just the problem of prescription drugs, drug addictions in sports, in wrestling, how it's impacted wrestling, but how it's the epidemic of drug use, and it's starting with prescription drugs is a cycle that has repeated itself for so many people, and probably the most important piece we've ever done here at Flow. Mike, Mal, Bader put a ton of time and energy into this project, and we're really proud of it. It's not a fun watch, but we think it's important, and we hope all you guys watch it and pass it around, and I don't want to say enjoy it. I hope you do find some entertainment in it and some value in it. But here's the trailer.
I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not proud of this, but this is my story.
A lot of the addicts I treat, that was their first drug of choice, was the Ritalin or the Adderall.
My addiction started really like any other kid's story would start.
It's the same story, every single case. As a wrestling coach, I've lost 7 and 20 years.
The progression from pills to heroin is very simple.
I'd gone to the hospital a couple times thinking I was having a heart attack.
It was after 4 months of shooting dope, it was like, where does this go? This goes all the way bad.
I'm sorry. I didn't make it.
I knew it was eventually going to come, but I dreaded that phone call every day.
The tenacity that an addict chases their fix, second to none.
Opioids were 1,000% overprescribed.
Tell a kid that wins the Nationals, you have a problem. How am I still winning?
I threw him out of practice and I was like, get out.
Everything that was important to me had gone. I was just sobbing my eyes out.
It's a nationwide issue. It's a freight train.
Honestly, I tell them all the time, this is nothing. That's the fight of your life.
There it is, coming out tomorrow, Fight of Your Life. Yeah, not a ton else to say about it, but looking forward to it being unleashed to the world. It's been a project, very literally years in the making. Ton of work gone into it, and excited for you guys to get eyes on it tomorrow. So
those Flow films are just spectacular. I mean, I love them. All of them are so good.
Thanks, dude.
Bader was saying, I was watching some with Bader. There's a bunch of them coming out in the next couple months, right? I mean, there's several films. I mean, that groundbreaking series, another one of those will be coming out. There's one on RBY, right?
Yep, that's in the works. It's I would say probably it's mostly shot. I think there's one more shoot we have to do with Roman. So look for that probably late summer, if I had to guess. We've got three Jordan Burroughs things. We've got the Groundbreakers with Tamara, Groundbreakers with Kevin Jackson. We've got just a broader film about Jordan and his quest for his 6th title and everything that went into it and the move and everything.
If I was a business, Christian, I'd want to sponsor one of those.
I don't think you get them sponsored, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
There are no sponsors to these films, right?
Well, there's going to be.
Yeah, that's Shane's job. Very literally, Shane's profession is selling these.
All right. And it's a great thing to sell because they're so well done and flow between the social media and the website. I mean, the eyeballs. I mean, everybody, they're awesome. Yeah. Everybody loves those things.
There you go. I like where your head's at, Shane. Okay, why don't we get to a couple questions before we depart?
Do we have any voicemails today? I missed the voicemails.
None today.
So good.
No voicemails. Call.
You don't like the voicemails, Ben?
Toll free.
No, I love them. I think they're outstanding.
All right.
They cracked me up so bad.
No, they're really good. Joseph Floyd with the Bo Bartlett hate.
No, he's not going to shoot more than 3.5 times.
Listen, he said we need an early prediction. His right way will Bo the Musket Bartlett average more or less?
Musket's a great nickname.
3.5 shots per match. Look, I do think. Listen, 141 will.
That's funny.
All right, let me chat a little bit on the Bartlett situation, okay? Because I have never unloaded my stock. I've been accumulating more. I have bought all the dips along the way.
Yep.
And I do think he will be better at 141. Now, is he going to turn into Nick Lee, just shooting all the time? No. But I do think the weight does have an impact on your aggressiveness, right? Even though you're probably feeling good because you're not cutting weight, you pay a harder price when you go under a guy that's bigger than you, okay? So I think that's it. Now, so I think his output will increase. Now, he's not going to turn into a volume shooter, no, but I think he's going to attack more. I think he's going to have a lot of good results. And you look at 141, I like where he slots in. I think he can make a lot of noise. So I'm excited to see how he does. And I'm especially looking forward to partying on all the mini haters of me and Bo when he has.
You realize he has to win a national title for you to be able to party.
Okay. Well, it appears he's at the right place to do that, JD.
I know. I'm just saying you can't party if he takes 6th.
I can.
Yeah, he's got 3 years yet, right?
I can party at any point in time. What'd you say?
I mean, if you're just gonna just rearrange reality like Shane did, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, like you said before, when people read tweets and they don't listen, it's the same thing. The comprehension. I said Penn State's the favorite. I just have no idea who's going to win this thing. I was going to be good. Penn State, Michigan. I mean, I
think, Bo,
I still feel
what are your
way.
thoughts, Ben? Are you saying he's going to be the same guy at 41?
He's not going to be all that much improved. I mean, he's like, I think of him like, say, a 10 through 20 guy at 149. Maybe, and 141 is not as good. So maybe he moves up a little bit. He's probably competitive with everyone as he was at 149. He had really close matches with Sammy Sasso. I mean, pretty much the only person who wasn't competitive with at 149 was Yanni. But at the NCAA tournament, can he put a whole bunch of those together? I find it to be unlikely because of his lack of offense.
We will see. Has the NIL, this is from Jed Cox, has the NIL and portal killed team culture in the NCAA? Yikes.
No, I don't think so.
I think it reinforces the importance of culture and making all your guys feel, valued and attached to the program.
Yes. And obviously, maybe some of those who are not good team culture guys, they get to getting.
Yes.
They leave.
Question. Where would I put Chance Marcel on the 79-kilogram ladder to make a world team? Probably top 5. I mean, he beat Tommy Gann at the Farrell is probably what prompted this question from Donnie Fisher.
Yeah.
But
probably depends on who else is 79. I mean, because there have been some significant fluctuations between 74, 79, 86. So I guess it probably depends on who all shows up at 79.
He's squarely behind Jordan, Ringer, Starace, in my opinion. So now it's 4 on.
Nolf, he's behind Nolf for sure.
Nolf, but he's coming down.
Imar.
So, yeah. This is
Isaiah Martinez, I would put him behind. I would put Imar ahead of Chance. So I think
Lujan's also there.
Yeah, Lujan. Lujan was Starace's loss at World Team Trials. In a very. Do you remember this match? It was crazy.
It was crazy. I can't recall it exactly, but I do remember it was first round and it was crazy, right?
I think it was shots from Starace, good counters from Lujan, back and forth, and Carter on the leg, maybe late. Can't recall exactly, but sort of went down like that. So he's right there. So we're pretty freaking deep, for it being non-Olympic or whatever.
And
it's really
this is a great lead-in. Can I bring up one more point I wanted to bring up?
Please.
I actually didn't know if we'd get to it in the show, but we feel like we can. And I feel like this is a really good lead-in. So Mark Branch, I obviously the tweet I referenced earlier about the NIL, Mark Branch brought that. He said something. I wish I should have got ready and got the tweets, but it's something essentially like, why can't wrestlers just wrestle because they love the sport? And while I don't disagree with that sentiment, and obviously I wrestled in college without any NIL deals, and I loved it. I probably would have continued to wrestle and probably never fought had there been appropriate sponsorship. And so, like, the fact that there is money in the sport now is so tremendous for American wrestlers that they can do what they love and they get paid to do so. And then I'm going to tie this in because someone else commented and someone said, well, they hate that Gable's going to WWE. Guys, Gable's going to make a whole bunch of money. And if we want to all act like that you only get to do what you love in life, regardless of other economic circumstances, that's ideal. That's really ideal that someone gets to that point. But there's very few people who actually get to that point in their life.
Right.
Gable's going to make 10, 20, 30x what he would make from real wrestling in WWE. And that's going to ideally say, obviously if he doesn't spend it, right, it's going to set him up really well in life. And so, yes, what you get paid as an adult is important. You want a family, you want to be able to support your wife, you want to be able to support your kids. And so I made the decision to do something else besides wrestling. If I could have made really good money in wrestling, I would have kept wrestling. So the fact that there is money in wrestling is, in my opinion, so valuable, especially to our senior level athletes who now we're talking about the depth of 79 kilos. Listen, if this was 10 years ago, a lot of them dudes are retired. They are not going to keep wrestling, period. And 100%. So, yes, I love that there is money in wrestling. And, yes, I want people to do it because they still love it, but I want them to also be able to earn a living.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. There's nothing really to add, so I won't even attempt to. Just well said. Shane, any other thoughts before we bid you adieu?
It's just great being back with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a couple weeks. I missed you.
I know. 2-week vacay will do that to you. 2-week vacation. Ad sales, man, they got it good, JD. You ready to get on the ad sales train. 2 weeks.
I will say this. I mean, I'm looking forward to, folk style wrestling coming back, right?
Well, you got good, a little bit, brother.
Good, hard, tough, top wrestling, turning guys.
Folk style. I'm confused. Are we in freestyle season?
No, I know. For me, it's disappointed that folk style's done.
Oh, you're a folk style only guy.
Not only, but I like it. I like it.
I like some folk style wrestling.
He likes
you know what? And Jordan Burroughs tried to bring it up. I think it was NCAA Finals night about the freestyle folk style debate. I said we don't need this. We don't need this. Can't we all just love wrestling? Like, yeah. I don't know why we need to debate freestyle versus folk style. Let's just love them both. Like, I got 3 children. I love all 3 of them.
Sure.
I can love freestyle and folk style. I enjoy them. Not Greco. Greco, that ain't my child.
If you had a kid freestyle and a kid folk style and a kid Greco, let's see.
I love Greco. That one's gone. That wasn't my child. That was like
Greco's going to boarding school.
To my house. I don't know him. You're out of here. Listen. You know what? Listen. I'm gonna pick on Greco people a little bit. You know what? When there's like one good throw, and they're like, people say Greco's boring. And I'm like, okay, listen. I didn't say Greco highlights were boring. I'll watch some Greco highlights. But you want me to watch the whole match? That's boring. They're going to push each other for like 6 minutes and maybe have one good throw. Like, we got 7 seconds of action. Was this freaking bull riding? Give me a break.
Yeah. Well,
you guys can't comment. Listen, I know you guys can't comment on the boringness of Greco. I'm self-employed. It's so damn boring. Give me a freaking break. No. Like, yeah, the highlights are good. Listen, Kamal Bay or who the heck was it? Someone else had a really cool highlight. I don't remember. I watched a really cool highlight the other day. I don't recall who it was right now. It was awesome. And I'm like, damn, that was a cool sequence. And I'm like, that was probably the only cool sequence of the whole day.
Well, Ben, you're not giving us any air cover because we are implicated by anything you say, as you know.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Ben Askren has Ben Askren's own opinions on FRL. That's why they bring me in here, to say some wild stuff. Flo is not implicated. Flo is not liable for my opinions.
Well, you can take it up with the associated and affiliated parties that think otherwise.
They can take it up with me. I'll tell them, you know what? You're lying to yourself. You watched that? There was one sequence in 6 minutes. You can push each other for the rest of the time. It's boring. Stop. Leave me alone. Yeah, you got one cool sequence. Great. I love it. I'll watch it. I'll watch those cool sequences. They're pretty cool. I like the highlights. Rest of it, maybe not so much.
Yeah, this is dangerous commentary from a man that lives in Wisconsin.
Dude, they bash me all the time. It's okay. Get lost. Just because I speak some truth here.
Ben Askren says beat it. Beat it, Greco. All right. Hey, we're going to go. Shane's going to go sell all our films for millions and millions of dollars. Ben's going to hold down the fort while Amy's gone. He's got to pack. Gene and I got work to do.
Have fun in Miami.
Yeah, have fun.
I'm going to have fun in Miami. Bitcoin, baby. Let's do it.
If you see Will Smith there, and we know he loves Miami, just
Miami. Is that
watch what you say. Thanks so much, guys. We'll be back tomorrow on Taco Wednesday, as we all know. Thanks so much. Make sure you check out FloWrestling. We got a lot of good stuff coming. Transfer Tracker, everything in between. Tomorrow, Fight of Your Life. See you then. Thanks a lot. Happy Tuesday, guys. See ya.
Welcome back to another edition of the show. It's episode 293. We are rocking, rapidly approaching 300. I'm Mark Bader, joined as always with Kyle Klingman out in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Kyle, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You have some plans for the 300th edition of the Bader Show?
I hadn't crossed my mind until I said it just now, actually. So no, I'm open to suggestions. That would be, if we do 3 of them a week, that would be like the week after next, but I'm traveling. I don't know. It'll be in a couple weeks. What should we do?
I think there should be some grand celebration. Maybe you could talk about all your trips to Russia and some of the funny things that have happened there. Spade told me about some things that we could uncover talking about those. So I think maybe a celebration of your life would be good.
300th episode. I'm not dying. All right.
I know, but we can celebrate you while you're alive.
This sounds morbid, but I'll definitely consider it.
All right.
Let's get into it. I'm excited for today's guest. He was on Michigan's 100th team. He spent almost 100 years in college. It's Stevan Micic. I'm kidding, but Stevan, how you doing today?
What's up, guys?
How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome. Welcome
Thanks
back.
for having me.
Man, NCAAs, no break, European Championships, like no rest for the weary, man. How are you feeling?
Yeah. I'm feeling good, actually. I mean, it's just a lot kind of thrown in at once. You know, I think like this past from like January to, now March, I think I've competed more than I have the last 2 years because, we had the, preparation for like the Olympic redshirting. And then I had the Europeans and a ranking tournament, and then COVID hit. And then I had competed like, one other World Cup, the individual World Cup. And then after that I did one tournament in Poland and then the Olympics. So like I literally have competed, maybe that was a total of like 7 matches or something like that in the span of 2 years, maybe 8 matches. And, and now it's like I wrestled the whole college season and then European no break. So it's kind of nice to get back into competing again, which is cool, and get back on the mat.
For sure. Okay, I was joking about 100 years of college, but obviously you wrestled for 8 years. And when you started right at Northwestern back in like 2014, maybe, I'm sure you didn't think.
2015 it was.
15. Okay, I'm sure you didn't think I'll be doing this, and COVID happened, and there's other things. But like, if you could give me the timeline of like, when did you be like, oh, okay, I'll extend it another year, and when was it like, well, another, and then like, how did the progression kind of happen? Like, you don't have to talk detail by detail, but just kind of broad strokes.
Well, I'll just go quickly like through that because it is crazy. But the Northwestern thing, once I transferred to Michigan, I didn't get like accepted into school until like the second semester. So when I arrived, we just thought it would be better since I had gotten a junior world bronze medal. They were like, well, we can just take the red shirt. And then that way, like, we have a few Michigan, like the 25 and 33, UC, Connor UC and Rossi Bruno could just like graduate, finish up, since they were returning All-Americans. So I just basically like redshirted there and was like, okay, I'm going to start in the 2016-17 year, which I did. And I thought I was going to go just 1, 2, 3, 4, and be done. And I did the first 3 years, I think it was, and 2019 was my junior year. And I actually graduated from college that year with my bachelor's. So then the grad year would have been like the final year would have been like a grad year. And because we went to the World Championships and made the bronze medal match, I qualified for the Olympics and for Serbia. And then we're like, Miles did as well. So we were both like, hey, both took 5th. Let's really we did really, really well. And we were like in it, like, hey, we can really, get a medal here the next year. So let's just let's do an Olympic red shirt. So me, Miles, and then Logan did as well. We were just like, all right, let's all just do this together and come back the year after. Well, then COVID happened, and then that delayed it another year. And then everyone gained a year of eligibility back from college. So I didn't wrestle that year when everybody, so I still got a year back, but we moved that. And then here we are in 2022, finished the NCAA tournament off. So I just can't, it just felt like it was something that it's like I said, only 1 year. You wouldn't have seemed that crazy, if it was just 2020 and I was finished, but it was just like the extra, it just felt like it was just coming one extra year. And then, jumping into it, it's crazy.
Yeah. At the NCAA championships this year, my role is in the back interviewing people, and Saturday, that first session, and the guys get medals and you're talking to a lot of them. The impression I got from a lot of guys who were in their 6th year, I think a couple were in their 7th, was like, bro, like they were just like spent, right? Probably physically as much as emotionally, but you know how emotionally draining the college season can be as well. So, you know, like threw their hands up just like, holy crap, this year was really challenging. Did you, I don't know, maybe it's because you didn't wrestle this first semester, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was that physically challenging or emotionally challenging for you, but how was it for you?
Well, I think like the most of the struggle for me was like being up at a new weight where I felt like the most challenged, because, you know, going into like the time of like being, okay, I can do this for like one more semester and I'll like be all right. Obviously, like folk style is something that I haven't done in a while, and it took like the whole like year to really get back into the groove of it. Like by the NCAA tournament, I was like feeling, I guess, somewhat acclimated. But the hardest thing was just like, you know, trying to grow my body and like get it into 141 but in reality, like once I had started making gains after August of the Olympics, I like started like, I took some time off. I needed it for my body.
Sure.
And then I started lifting. And by the time I like started like being like, oh, actually I weigh like 148, 149, like I can like maybe start growing more. I had to make weight 141 every weekend.
Yeah.
So it was like, now at this point, I like never really made the strength gains of being like, hey, I'm as strong as a person at 141. I'm like barely, like I'm probably just getting my strength back to wrestle 133 again, because my body had been like, you know, obviously I'd lost some muscle and a little bit of my strength, even going down to 125 and a half for the Olympics. So it was just tough being like, I just felt like, you know, I'd go in there and wrestled each weekend. And I'm not used to, you know, I lost 7 times this college year, I think something like 7 or 8 maybe. And I'm just like, I've not been used to losing maybe 7 times in a year. I think 7 times I had lost maybe in a total of like the last like 5 years or something like that.
Right.
You know, maybe maybe my freshman year. And then since my freshman year, I only lost 3 times in the last other 2 years of college. And then freestyle, I lost like maybe like 4 times at the senior level from a tournament, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was like, so that was really difficult for me, just being like wanting to do that, because trying to make adjustments and like, especially you know, with the Big Ten schedule, it's like competition each week.
Yeah.
And
no joke.
I didn't have that much. Yeah. And you know how like the preseason is sort of like a time where for guys, like the team gets kind of like they're kind of in condition, but they're like still lifting and they're like getting kind of acclimated to where they're competing. And then by the time it's the Big Ten season, everyone's in their kind of their rhythm and their groove of like competing week to week, where they don't have to make many adjustments. Right. I was like in the part where it's like I needed almost felt like I needed more time to be like, hey, I need to like make some big adjustments and just feel some time, but I didn't have that. We were just wrestling. So right. Strength, like feeling the strength, feeling my folk style, like just things just weren't clicking, where I would go in and like I would shake my opponent's hand and I'd start wrestling and be like I'm gonna win this, like I feel great right now, like there's no way. And then just from things that I would be doing and moving, it just wouldn't go. Sometimes I would try moving the guy a little bit too much and they would just be, you know, thicker guys and just backing away. And then I would go into attack and grab a leg. They would just be sprawling harder and it'd be my lock would break, and I'm not used to that. And I'd just be wearing myself out. And I'd be like, I'm in great shape, but I'm like burning the candle at both ends. So it was like a really physically demanding thing where I was getting frustrated, and it was like, you know, I was just trying not to telling myself to be positive and not let this affect my like mental and like taking away from the skills that I know I have in wrestling. It just was like the situation of like jumping into this and like trying to adjust up faster than I was ready for, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so, you know, I think really that was like the strain that I felt like once the NCAA tournament was off of me, because I didn't have like, because I love wrestling, but it's just like, you know, being like, all right, like that was just a really tough thing that I wanted to come back for and like do, but I didn't want it to be like the way that it did. You know, I wanted it to be a lot better for myself and a lot better for the help of the team as well. So I think that was like the hardest thing, that like when that was finished, it was a little bit more of like, okay, now I can like really focus on freestyle. I can focus on, I did that. I went back. I don't have any regrets for coming back for our team and helping Michigan. And, you know, I did that. And now, like, I feel like I can really just focus on me, you know, now. So I think that was more of what it was than the length of wrestling, because either way I would be training and wrestling. One would just be, I'm wrestling in collegiate and folk style.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. So
makes complete sense.
That's just kind of how I look at it. Yeah.
So, you know, you wrestled in the Olympics at 57 kilos. That's 125 pounds. You had been wrestling folk style and collegiate at 133. I think, I don't know if it's well documented, but it seems well known that it was a struggle for you to get to 57. You had to cut quite a bit of weight. So was the decision to go up to 141, was that because of freestyle, because you wanted to jump up to 65 because there's no Olympic weights at 61?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I guess, like, I can make it pretty, like, more clear. Like, so Serbia, like, wants me really, because we don't have any freestyle guys. We have me, Hetik Sabalov, who was Russian world silver and world champion at 70, and he transferred to now wrestle Serbia. And then we have a heavyweight. His name's Magomed Nurasulov. He's from Russia, and he never started or anything. But we're, like, the only 3 freestyle guys, and I'm the only one who's actually, like, Serbian. The rest is, like, full Greco, and they want us to really focus on, like, supporting the Olympic weights. Because that's how the federation can, like, support us as athletes by, like, funding us and, like, being able to pay us through, like, our stipend and things like that. So it's like, you know, if I go to the Europeans and I medal, I can make money versus if at an Olympic weight, versus if I went 61 this past week and I go and win gold or silver, and they won't be able to pay me any money at all. And then also, because I would have to weigh in and wrestle a match to qualify for the world championships at 65 kilos, there's no point in me, like, we'd have to find some guy, like a Greco wrestler or something, to weigh in and, like, start a match for me to wrestle 65. It's not like it's not like the US where we have every weight class. We just find someone like, hey, you're going to wrestle. I actually have to wrestle that weight class that I plan on, the Europeans that I plan on worlds. So basically, knowing that, after the Olympics, it's like, okay, we can use this. Let's try to think about this and, like, use 141 as, like, it's going to be an adjustment. We don't really know what to expect, but, you know, technically you're right there with these guys. We just, you know, obviously have these, like, strength things and coming back to folk style to worry about. So let's just kind of jump into that and try getting you stronger and having this adjustment period, like, for this year to move into the 65 spot, rather than being, like, having that, like, okay, I'm going to wrestle 61 for a year. Because for Serbia, it's like, I honestly personally would like to wrestle this world's at 65 kilos before, like, just feeling that out and getting used to it, because the year afterwards, that's the year that matters to qualify for an Olympic spot. So I'm like, I don't want that to be my first chance moving into the weight. I want, like, a year to be used to it. Now, obviously, I think I'm still like that's the plan, but college just was a lot, like, more of a jump into it than I, like, wanted, you know. It was a lot harder than I expected it to be, to jump up into that weight class, you know what I mean? Versus just being like, okay, I'm going to go 133, and, like, what my comfort zone is, I know where things are, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because right now, like, with my body, I'm trying to grow it, but, like, still, like, my body would be like, okay, 133 would be just, like, the perfect ideal weight still for my body to be, where, you know, the amount of weight that I weigh and that I can cut and feel like my best as a athlete, you know, strength and conditioning and all of that. So now it's just like, okay, now I actually have to, you know, now that Europeans are over, I just get to spend this time. Like, I have 6 months to really, like, get, you know, maybe, like, 2 competitions before, but really focus on growing my body, versus, like, okay, I have to just go and jump in right into a competition where I'm, you know, making weight every week. So
that's what I wanted to ask about is, you know, how close are you to being where you need to be for 65, and what do you need to do to get your body where it needs to be, and how long do you think that'll take you? Or could it take up till 2023 and or, you know, 2024 to be optimized?
Well, I think that, yeah, that's great. I mean, that's something that I'm working on right now, focusing on, because Europeans, like, I came into it and was like, okay, like, man, this college season wasn't great, but, like, hey, freestyle is my thing. And I went into the match, and, like, the one thing that I've struggled with a little bit this year was just, like, how do I want to manage my wrestling to be, like, my best? Because if I come out and try to move guys and, like, and have the action and motion that everyone knows that I have and to excite to attack, sometimes when I'm wrestling the bigger opponents and I'm moving people too much, I also sometimes sacrifice my positioning because of the strength barrier. If I'm, like, trying to exert energy to move someone too much, sometimes I can get out of position because they're not moving the way I want them to. Things are a little bit off and different, and I'm still trying to adjust to that. So, going into Europeans, I'm like, I was like, hey, I don't want to be overly aggressive right away, but I also don't want to be like under aggressive because I'm in really good shape right now, and I wrestled my first opponent who he was Armenia. I think he's like he's 1 or 2 now at 65, but good opponent. And I was winning the whole match. I ended up giving up a takedown with like 10 seconds or less on the thing. And it was a kind of I don't know if you saw the match, Bader, or not, but it was like a really controversial call where I grabbed the ankle, and I don't think it was 2, but it was one of those where like, man, I really wish I would have just came out a little harder in the beginning because I felt like better than the person. I just didn't open up and feel it. So getting those kinks out, and then also now that being finished, I just was like, I need to really just focus on like gaining, like really just getting my body prepared in size, where everyone's telling me like, you need to weigh like 70 kilos to be a 65 kilo guy. And I got to the tournament, and I thought I had like, I ate on the plane, and then I like, I like ate breakfast in the morning when I got there. And then I like was like, oh, I'm going to go check my weight. Like I'm like, I wonder how much I'm going to weigh. Like I haven't eaten everything. And I was like 66.0. I was like, come on, Stevan, I'm like only 2 pounds over before my workout for the day before I'm wrestling. So I have to get like my weight to be, I need to gain another, like probably like 8 pounds of strength and like withstand that as my like waking weight, I think it's possible, with, like I said, we have a target of like 6 months for the Worlds. And for me, the goal is just to be like, hey, like I want to just really improve that aspect of my wrestling to where, my body's adjusted to that weight and like to wrestle like someone at that weight, because, I've always personally liked the 65 kilo weight class, even training when I had like Habit and Kellen Russell and all of those guys. I personally liked the feel of like a 65 kilo guy. They're a little bit like slower and more strength based. And I felt like my technique matches well with it, but I always felt like, I was like, man, if I just was stronger, this would just be perfect for me. If I just felt like I had more power and more horsepower, this would be perfect for me. So it's a matter of right now, it's just tough because I'm just in that period of my training, and my period of training that's just like, I'm taking lumps because I'm not adjusted and acclimated yet. And I've just kind of done it prematurely, but I actually think, truly, I believe it's going to pay off. It's just a matter of like once it hits. And if we can make that adjustment sooner, and I'm going to just try to make that jump with my strength training now that I started this week. Actually, I'm off the mat right now, but just making that jump in the weight room, and just doing the right things with my diet. I think then we're matching up, you know what I mean, to do really well.
Yeah. And, I mentioned earlier, like the struggle or the tough weight cut that you used to have. And it's going to be the opposite now, right? And I've heard guys that go from like 97 to heavyweight or whatever, that try to put on weight. They're like, dude, it's not fun. Like force feeding, eating extra.
Yeah.
It's just as bad. Because you're not eating donuts and Twinkies and crap. You're
eating like very healthy foods and like making sure you have your nutrition shakes, like your protein shakes at night or whatever, like things in between your meals, like getting the amount of protein that I need, making sure that I'm eating the amount. Yeah, it's in like the caloric intake's like high now, because I like got it down sort of like to what I, having the other end of it, I got that down. So now it's going to be an adjustment for my body, because at first, like, I'm probably going to be like, oh, I'm not hungry. It's going to be like forcing myself to, but I'll be all right. We've got a good plan in place for, like I said, for until September, just to really grow my body. And so like the goal is to weigh, like if I can get to what's 69 kilos, like 150, like just, I want to be like weighing 150-ish, 150, 152, 153, just like all the time. If I can do that for now, and just, even if I'm on the smaller end of that, I think my strength and like because my leverage and my height is good for the weight as well. Mm-hmm. I just need to like have that like power to where like, hey, if I'm going to attack, I can get my hands locked on a leg now, because that's where I'm an attack wrestler. So I need to get that, or like my hips are doing the work defensively, just, and my snaps, I'm feeling it's being effective. Like the guy's actually like reacting to me, and I can run to an angle or not, versus now it's like, oh, they're jumping. Like I can't, like I'm running to the corner on someone for him to drag, and they can just they're I grabbing their leg and their leg's thick and they're just kicking back. It's like, I'm like, oh, this is just
it's the size,
getting
right?
old.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever, if you're trying to put on mass and size, I don't know if you've ever seen Klingman without a shirt on, but he's chiseled. He is like a specimen.
Oh, really?
And he's, Kyle, you got any tips here on how to put some mass on for Stevan?
I do. Yep. Eat lots of Twix, caramel Twix. They're the best way to gain weight.
Those are my favorite snacks. So thanks for telling me that, because now I'm just going to be loading up. Honestly. So, like I said, I'm open for anything right now. Eating, just putting something in my body. I'm kidding. But
after the show, we'll get your address. Kyle has a knack of sending like boxes of whatever to somebody. He finds out what they like. So there may be some Twix. Some Twix may show up at the Bonner Center with your name on them. I can't.
Late night chocolate, baby. I'll take it.
All right. Speaking of the Bonner Center, where Michigan trains, man, the Team 100, Michigan chasing an NCAA title this year. You and Miles coming back, and Logan and Soriano coming on, and just like did it feel different? Was there something different, or fun, or just a different vibe or feel in the room this year, knowing you guys had a powerful team that was capable of challenging, and you did challenge for a title. Obviously, you came just short, but yeah, what was that like this year?
Yeah, it was really. Well, I think like me knowing the team for such a long time, it was like it felt like we gelled really well, all 10 of us. Obviously, Nick was like the only one who had spent the least time with us. Nick's always doing his own. He's very particular about how he does things, and he's a little bit more quiet,
Yeah.
But we obviously everyone got along with Nick really well, and it worked like for our team, where we knew like Nick was going to take care of business no matter what. So we could that was like rest easy. But all of our team, we did a good job of understanding each other, and it felt like everyone kind of knew what we had, like our jobs were to do and everything like that. And it was positive. We just I don't know, it was just a cool thing to be a part of for sure. There was no we didn't have to I guess there's a thing. It's like, you're worrying about yourself to do things and everything, but it's like, it's kind of nice when it's like, okay, well, I'm not the only person that's doing things. It's like everyone is like focusing on, it's almost like you're like competing. Not I wouldn't say me personally, or like even like the older guys, but like it was cool seeing like the younger guys, like Will Lewan, Cam Amin, even Mason, like just like some of those guys like I felt like they were like trying to step up for us. You know what I mean? Because they like saw, man, like we don't want to be like the only people like not doing as well. Like we want to step up, and they were felt like that Will versus Cam versus, you know what I mean? They were like competing to like I'm gonna score more points than you in the quarterfinals, or like I don't know, just stuff like that.
Sure.
Just like that's a cool thing when you have that from like your younger guys on the team, and like your older guys who are the ones that they're looking up to. So we're the ones who have like experience, and like we've already done all of that. You know what I mean? So they're the ones like being like, hey, we got to keep up on our end.
For sure.
That's cool.
So the Big Ten championships, I actually got to sit right here and watch. We did like a watch party, and we were watching all the conferences and Big Tens, obviously. It's the most competitive. Man, from my perspective, the team race was super exciting. It was back and forth, and you thought one team would pull away and then catch up. What was it like for you? What when you think back at the Big Ten championships, from this year, what moments stick out to you? What do you remember the most?
I'm trying to think. Well, I think like it was cool because it kind of came down into like our medal matches and stuff like that. Like it came down to the second day. So pretty much like everything after the second day, it was kind of like the main thing. And I remember like, from a team perspective, I thought the coolest thing was like, when, even though, well, I think this actually the semifinals. So like, I think Will made the finals, Cam made the finals. Logan made the finals, and then Miles made the finals. I don't know. It was just really cool because like that going up to it, and then like how we were kind of ahead of them, and then even when Logan lost for the match with Srirachi, we kind of feel like, oh no, Penn State might. And then Miles like closing the deal against Brooks was really, really cool. That's probably what sticks out to me the most, was just I felt like Miles like, stepped up really well to beat Brooks. Obviously I wish it was the other way around for the NCAA championships, but that was a really cool memory because the way that he did it, and I thought that kind of got it. And then I think Brucky at 97 for third, I think it was. I think he locked it in after getting his win. So it was just, I don't know, it was cool. Like you said, everyone on our team could feel it coming too, but I don't think we were even thinking about the team race. We were just wrestling, and then everyone was in their zone.
Pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What did Coach? If I know Bormat, he didn't rest on the victory and celebrate all week because you guys were getting ready for NCAA's. But what was that night like? At least did you at least get to enjoy the Big Ten champ?
Yeah, for sure. It was cool. Like, I mean, I like Sean. Everyone was like super excited, and like we none of us were like super like we knew we had 2 more weeks to try to win an NCAA title as a team. So we weren't like overly enthusiastic, but we enjoyed the moment. We had a great time. We were super proud. I mean, something that we haven't done in like, I don't even know how many years. It was like 48 years or something like that. Crazy. And also just from my end too, I got kind of choked up because, this is not like, that's not how I wanted to wrestle too, getting 4th at the Big Tens, especially my senior year coming into it and being like, but at the same time, I was like, man, this is like why I came back too, because I did something like almost bigger than me for the team to do this, because we wouldn't have been able to do it without me, So coming back like that, like it just was cool, just being part of something, part of something greater for a short time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just that being like such a cool moment in time to be like, you can share with you share it with everybody, because everyone on our team was a part of it. Everyone that was stayed back at home and was help training was a part of it. So just being a part of like all of that for like a moment in time, I kind of hold that really close to me, for something that's an achievement that I, I'm so proud of, like being a part of, not being like used to being like, all right, because of me, or like, and it still is because of me, because of every little piece together. It just doesn't feel like the same, because wrestling is like an individual sport, so it's something like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just cool.
For sure. You got some PA on campus hanging out and people walking by like, what's he doing?
Yeah. There's a lot going on because it's nice out today. So
yeah, you said it snowed the other day, and now it's obviously
yeah, it snowed. It snowed like 2 days ago or yesterday even. It was coming down. It melted right away, and then now it's like 65 or 70 almost.
Fantastic. All right, same kind of question about the NCAA championships, whether it's you or the team. And it was in Detroit. I don't remember the match specifically. I just remember you guys had a big win, might have been overtime, and Sean just got up and he was like fist pumping, and the Michigan section's right there. And there's just a couple of things that stand out in my mind from the NCAA championships with this Michigan team. But I'm curious what stands out with yours, whether it's you're wrestling or watching your teammates.
I think like I think both, like just watching I think just the way that everybody was like competing. I mean, no matter how well I just think like overall everyone competed really, really. They gave really good. Everyone gave good effort. Everyone was like pretty good shape for the most part. Like everyone was peaked, ready to go, shape wise. Yeah. Obviously there were some technical errors on ends, and there were some just little things that everybody could have probably changed. Because but I just think like the environment of like our team, like the Michigan's team, our coaches, the way that it was like in Detroit, and the way that we were able to have so many fans and like people coming up to us, coming up to me, being like really proud of how you're competing. And I just think like all of that combined was a really, really cool thing. I don't know. I'm not used to, the amount of time that I've been at Michigan, 100 years now. I haven't seen I haven't like been really, I felt like the presence like that, like Iowa and like Penn State gets sometimes, but sure. This year was like the first year that I was like, people like bought in on Michigan wrestling now. And not just like for our team only, because like, yeah, we had like we won Big Tens and we took second, but it's like from this point on, like I felt like people were like change. Were like, I'm like a Michigan fan now. I'm with Michigan now. Like I like want to wear the, we're like, I'm not used to seeing like, even, I know you're a fan, you got the Michigan wrestling shirt on today, but like, how many people I just would see like wearing Michigan wrestling shirts like that aren't from Michigan, because Michigan's a very like home stick state school, where people, I feel like, oh, it's because I'm in the state, like we have the feeling, but people are wearing Michigan wrestling shirts from all over the country. Like that's something that I feel because of this NCAA tournament,
Yeah. It was an awesome experience, and to watch you guys, I know, like I said, I know the goal was first place, but it was an awesome performance by you guys, and watching all 10 guys or everybody on the team contribute and the crowd be there and be stoked. I thought it was fun to watch, and like I think you just described, it had to be really cool to experience. So glad you got to experience
Thanks.
that. Okay. Your last name, right? It's been Micic, it's been Micic, Nico. I'm talking to our producer real quick. If you got that graphic, I think I got a visual representation. If we can throw this up there and let's see if I got this right. Is that right?
Hold on. Micic. Yes, you got it perfect.
Okay. I showed it to Kyle. That's Cheech from Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I know.
I showed Kyle earlier, and he was like, I see some guy in a mustache. I'm like, that's Cheech.
That's Cheech.
Micic.
Yep, that's right. Yep,
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, because I've called you probably 12 different variations. I thought it was Micic for a long time, but it's Micic. So I just want to clear that up. Awesome. And as we roll along, I want to we're kind of getting closer to the end here, but we got Kyle Klingman hanging out, and I think you've done this before. He's got a little game, and he's going to try to make you squirm in your seat with some questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I think the last time you were on surprise appearance with Miles, so this is your first time without any help. So it's our game called Sweat It Out. 5 questions. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready to play. Let's go.
Okay. As we mentioned, you went to Northwestern for that year. So your first college tournament was at the Michigan State Open on November 2nd, 2014. What 2 Michigan wrestlers did you face during that tournament?
Oh, I think it was Corey Lester and no, maybe not. Wait, yeah, Corey Lester and Connor Utsi, I think.
Yep.
I know Connor Utsi for sure, but was I right about Corey?
What were the scores? Were they wins, losses? Do you remember the scores?
I won both of them. And both of them, like, obviously, like, were big training partners for me after, which was awesome. So it was great. I'm glad to shout out both of them because they've helped me tremendously at Michigan.
Oh, that's the noon bell, isn't it? Is that the noon bell? It's 11 o'clock here.
You got it.
All right, Kyle.
All right, number 2. Name one team that Vlade Divac from Serbia played on other than the Lakers.
Oh, I want to say the Sacramento Kings.
Yep. Yeah, don't back out because you got it right. So there's 2.
Yep.
Number 3.
I know.
You got it. During the 1994 NCAA championships, Sean Bourmet defeated an eventual 3-time NCAA champion in the quarters and an eventual 2-time NCAA champion in the semis. Name one of the 2.
Oh my gosh.
That's tough.
94 quarters and semis?
College wrestling before I wrestled, and like that's probably my weakest topic of wrestling, to be honest, because I started wrestling in 2004. I was 8, and freestyle before then I could maybe know a little bit better, but college, it's tough. Honestly, I can't answer that one. I'm going to have to take the L.
How about this? Yeah. Sean wrestled in the NCAA finals. Do you know who he wrestled and lost to in the NCAA finals?
Yeah, he lost to Pat Smith.
All right, something.
But I don't know who he lost to. I don't know who he beat that year though. I remember that he beat like really good dudes before that, and then
I don't know. Stump me, Kyle.
Yeah, he beat a guy named Joe Williams from Iowa, 3-timer in the quarters.
A guy named Joe Williams.
Joe Williams. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And then he beat Marcus
Illinois
Malika
guy.
of Arizona State at 2-timers in the semis.
Okay.
So
wow. Impressive.
All right, so we go into the freestyle realm. So we'll see if you can get this one. Kevin Jackson won a world title in 91, an Olympic gold in 92. What year did he win his third world Olympic title?
91, 92, and then he won it in 90. He didn't go to the Olympics, I don't think, in 96. He told me that. I want to say, but it was a couple years after. I want to say it was like 95, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, don't back out. You got it.
I like that. I was going
got
to say 96. I was thinking 96. Good
I
work
was
there.
that one confused. That's funny. I asked him a couple weeks ago. I was like, "What? Like, I know you were in Barcelona, but did you go for the? I don't know if he was at the Olympics in 96, but I know he won a Worlds. Like he said, he won a Worlds in 95. That's why I remembered.
Did we win a team title? Did we win a team title in 95?
We did, yeah. We smoked them. And number 5, what wrestler from Michigan won a bronze medal at the 1990 World Championships at 100 kilograms?
I wasn't afraid.
90?
Yeah.
1990 Worlds. Was it Kirk Trost?
It was. It was.
Let's just go freestyle all day with this guy. He's got him.
I know. You did a good job on that.
I thought maybe you'd throw.
I forgot. Like I was gonna say. I remember that. He got. Sometimes I forget. Like not that I forget that he has a bronze, but I just. We have a lot of history, in our room with our international wrestling over the past 40 years. So it's sometimes I'm just just come across a lot of guys that were awesome, that were badasses.
Do you watch? I assume you watch a fair amount of freestyle. You probably watch more freestyle than folk style. Do you watch it? If you do, or when you do you watch it as a fan, as a competitor? Are you looking to be entertained? Or are you looking to study?
Both, I would say. I think because me and my dad watch a lot of film together. I would say that I don't know. I think I like watching wrestling now as a fan, the competitive that I'm watching now. And then my dad, if we were watching technique that's really good, or some people that are doing really good things, and we'll break that down and be kind of oh yeah, we're watching it as a competitor, a student of the sport, try to figure things out and what takeaways from that. But old matches too. I think I've I don't know. I would say I'm both, just on both sides of it.
Sure. Okay.
I would say I'm both. It just depends on what I'm feeling So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Last thing before we let you go. This one's called wins and whoopings. So if you can think back over the entire span of your career from first ever match to most recent match, looking for one win that stands out. It can be Little League, high school, college, whatever, international. It just stands out for whatever reason. You felt really good about it. It could be your best win, or just some guy that used to beat you and you got one back on him, or a comeback, whatever. For whatever reason, you're like, man, this one kind of sticks out in my memory as a good win. And then one complete ass whooping you took that it's not fun to think back on, but you'll never forget it. And this guy just beat you up and you came off the mat and you threw your hands up and you're like, I don't know what just happened. So one win, one whooping, either one first, whenever you're ready.
All right. I think I'm trying to remember, I don't want to do a repeat one of, I think the one I did when I was guest appearing on Miles's. Yeah. So I think there I did my big win was against Otley from Turkey, right, the European game. And I did Tomasello as my ass whooping the first time, second time I wrestled, my first college loss, as a red shirt here at the Michigan State Open. That was in the finals. But I'm trying to think, I'm gonna try to do a different one for you guys.
All right, I like it.
I think a big win would be, I think when I beat Sanayev at the Poland Open was a cool one, because I gotten injured a little bit after it. He hurt my knee. I ended up winning the match 9-5. So I feel like I dominated him and it was a really good win. And then he ended up losing in the world finals a month later to Uguia by a singlet pull. So I was wow, I felt really good about that win. But I think loss wise, Trying to think of one that was like, try to keep one of like more recent, I guess. College. Oh, I don't know.
I wish I had this problem.
Can I bring one up to you?
What's that?
No, I'm serious. Like, why doesn't it ever get mentioned that 1 minute went off the clock at Kazakhstan in your bronze medal match? No one brings it up.
I talk about it all the time. Me and Sergey. Sergey is like the most upset about it too, because they like went up to Sergey and tried to like buy the match from, and we're like, what? They're like, he's like, no. And then like we're in the match and like it, but it was sort of like they went for it and they're like, oh well, anyways, like we have the referees on our side anyways. You know, it was like it was terrible because they took a minute off the match. They gave him 2 takedowns in a row out in the beginning because I guess exposed my back and then I rolled him through, which so I kind of saw it being like 2 and then 1, you know, or I didn't even know if he got anything. And then they gave him 2 takedowns, gave him a 2, and then they gave him another 2 for covering me. And then after that, they like stopped me from getting I had like him in a Turk position, and he was I went for a crossface to like get him off my ankle, and they were like, well, no crossface.
This isn't wrestling.
Yeah, and I lost 4-3, and I'm like, he didn't do anything the whole match, just in the beginning. That was it. And they shaved a minute off the period. I was like, how do you do? It was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, that was my for bronze, and I just that was the one match where I got off the mat and was like, I don't know how I like when you're managing a match, being like, I don't know how a person like this won against, like, I won this match. I there's no way that I lost, and how, like, I can tell just by everything, you know, he didn't do anything. I scored more points than him. There's no way that I just lost right now. And I didn't get a bronze medal. It was insane. But, back to the other question, I'll probably have to go with Tomasello though. Again, honestly, because that's the one person that I wrestled him. Like just in college, I just was, you know, going from high school to college, and he was just one of those guys that was just so much like stronger than everybody anyways. Yeah. So matching up against him was like, you know, early on was tough. Like my first time I wrestled him was difficult in college, because I was a redshirting for Northwestern for Ohio State, and I just got beat like 13-2 or something like that. Like he got like 3 takedowns on me, and he tilted me once, and it was just kind of like, all right, let's, you know, obviously I don't think it was my best match, but you know, because I had wrestled him later in matches, we were closer, you know, maybe I could have won one of them, but the time in college, I just was too immature for him at that point, you know?
Yeah. All right.
So.
Well, that's fair, man. That's fair. And that's going to bring us down to the end of the line. When do you think you'll compete again?
So I'm probably going to wrestle Mediterranean Games at the end of June. It's sort of like all the countries that are like surrounding the Mediterranean Sea or whatever, compete in it. And it's like pretty important for like the IOC does it for those countries. And it's sort of a big deal.
Yeah.
To go, and it's not super deep either. So I think like Turkey will be there. It's probably the best country that will go. So like I'll have the Turkish guy who just got bronze at the Europeans 65. And I don't really know maybe who else will really, I don't know any other countries really, but that'll be kind of a nice tournament where I can go and just see, like, try to make little gains have a weigh in. And then after that, I might do something in July, maybe a tournament in Romania, or the ranking tournament in Poland, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's something there. And then I think Worlds are in September. So I'll just have sort of like a couple tournaments, probably 2 more, and then Worlds. And just right now, just really focus on growing my body and just get you know, adjusting to the new weight.
Awesome.
So
awesome, man. Well, that's great. I appreciate you coming on, and it's always fun to talk with you. Really is, Stefan.
Yeah, I always enjoy you guys having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well,
thank you.
Go eat, and then take a break, and then eat some more and lift. And
I will.
Man, we'll catch you at the next tournament. Really look forward to it.
Take care.
All right, thanks. Have a good one. Adios.
Yeah, peace. Thank you.
All right. Oh, Kyle, man, he's always a treat to talk to. Micic is always loves talking wrestling. He's a good guy.
Good guy, and I think we're both going to go get some Twix after this.
You can go get your Twix. I'm good. Maybe I'll have one after lunch, but I got to grab some lunch first. But that's going to do it for today's show. For Stevan Micic and Kyle Klingman, I'm Mark Bader. We'll be on tomorrow with Real Woods. Really excited for that. We'll see you guys then. Adios.